people turned out today to congratulate local hero John Dillo on receiving a Purple Heart and Bronze Star for his service in Afghanistan almost 20 years after he shit his pants in the middle of a social studies lesson in Mrs. Barnes' 4th grade class.
That's right, Blake. The courageous action he took to protect his fellow soldiers after he was shot by insurgents is getting him even more attention than when classmates asked, "What's that smell?" Pointed directly at him and shouted, "Oh my God, Dillo shit his pants."
John Dillo from... Okay.
John Dillo. He's the pants shitter that lives past the old Cranston place, right? Good for him.
Mayor Sue Hallinan invited John down to City Hall to give him the key to the town he grew up and crapped himself in.
We're all so proud of you, John. No one would have imagined that the little boy who had to carry his underpants in a plastic bag and borrow a pair of old gym shorts from the nurse would accomplish so much.
But John isn't just a respected soldier. The man who once shit right down the leg of his jeans into his sock donates his time and money to the American Leukemia Society.
Oh, that Dillo's a great kid. He's the kind of guy I would want my daughter to marry if he could walk 10 feet without shitting his pants.
Despite his injuries, Dillo says he's eager to get away from Pennington and go back to the fight. Well, congratulations, John Dillo. I know we'll see you shit out some great things in the future.
Hear, hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to yet another episode of Rogan Radio live from the friendly confines of Studio A in the luxurious
confines of Castle Rogan,
Lumberport, West Virginia. Yay. Good evening to you. Man, it is Sunday, and let me tell you what, we are beat. What a great weekend Michelle and I had. We went down to Webster Springs, down in Webster County.
Because somebody had a birthday.
Yep, there's a birthday boy.
Hey, listen, Chucky.
Yes?
You want to sing happy birthday to Michelle's papa?
Jack Hall down in Webster Springs is having a birthday.
Yes, he is.
And we're going to sing him happy birthday.
How old is he? We all want to know how old he is.
I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you.
Probably just a couple years older than Chuck.
Oh.
We would never ask your mother how old she was, but
69.
69.
Dang.
Somebody's got a fun birthday this year.
Jack Hall having a birthday, and I said Jack Hall. If you say it quick enough, it sounds something else. Jack Hall down in Webster Springs. If you see him tomorrow, wish him a happy birthday.
Yes.
Shall we start? You can. Hey, listen, you're his lovely daughter.
Yeah, I'm not starting.
I'll start it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Happy
birthday to you, Jack Hall.
Happy birthday to you,
Jack
Hall. Happy birthday, dear Jack.
Down at Webster Springs, took us around, and we went to El Springs Restaurant last night, and then we woke up and had a great breakfast.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
69.
Listen, we went down there yesterday. We had the sole intention of going down to Webster Springs. If you know anything about Webster Springs, there's like 3 things you do. You go and you ride your side-by-sides or four-wheelers because there's trails everywhere in that general area anyway. You do a lot of fishing, and you do a lot of palling around with your friends. So that's what we went down there last night. He has a friend named Mike, and Mike put brake pads on Michelle's Jeep.
So if you want anything done right, you take it to Webster County.
That's right. So while we're down there, Gary stops by.
Oh.
One of the clothes. They have their little bubble too down there. As you know, they're like a motorcycle gang without the motorcycles. They have the side-by-sides and the 4x4s or whatever. So anyway, Gary comes down, and Gary brings us this, because we're big moonshine fans. Gary brings us this. What was it? Do you remember the name of it?
That?
Yeah, what apple pie.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? Apple pie.
Yeah, apple pie. Have you tried? Have you guys tried this yet? This is Webster. This is Webster Springs moonshine. It's not the high test stuff. It's the low test stuff. So
It's
I'll tell you that.
smooth. Hold it up there so I can get a picture.
It's smooth.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
It's good.
Now, do you guys have like a Floyd barbershop down there? Or
Strangely enough, you ask. Hey, why don't you pass me some of that?
You
Actually,
mentioned that.
there's really a Floyd's barbershop?
there's not,
No.
but there was a Jack Hall's barbershop
There
down
was a
there.
Jack Hall's barbershop.
Your
till
daddy
he
cut hair?
retired.
No joke. Maybe he can come in here and give you a haircut, Chuck.
Well, Michelle said that last night because she doesn't like it. And then if you would have seen it last night when I fell asleep on the recliner in the basement, compared to what it looks like now, it looks halfway decent now.
Really?
Thank you, Gary.
Chuck,
You can't try. You want to try? You want to just try?
Chuck.
Anybody else want to try any of that?
Chuck. Hell yeah.
Okay. There's only been about 16 lips on that thing so far, so that's not too bad.
I hope that
It depends on which ones they were.
I hope that alcohol burns those.
It looked
germs
like
away.
that muddy water to me.
It does look like muddy water.
Now while we were down there,
Good old West Fork water.
That's Webster's. That's
No,
Webster
that looks
County
like
water.
that looks like Lumberport tap water.
Yeah.
Do they smell bad?
It doesn't smell bad, but I wouldn't drink it.
now we have Cuddles up here, who is
Taylor County, our water is a lot better than that.
Well, yes, it is.
Cuddles is in the house tonight, and he is our resident moonshine maker / provider. And Cuddles, he did a taste test of this. And Cuddles, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you like thumbs up? Yeah.
Good
Thumbs
job,
up.
Cooter.
But
You got a Cooter's garage there in Webster County too.
If you want.
Anything.
You got General Lee running around.
They have anything.
So anyway, we went last night. Now
There was one in Fairmont.
General Lee?
Wasn't
Cooters.
all the way General Lee, but it had the bright orange, but it had black trim.
Was it a politically correct with no flag
Well,
on the top?
but it was
politically correct.
but it was a Chevette.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But we went to a restaurant last night, which is a pretty cool place. It's sort of like what I would consider out in the middle of nowhere because I'm not familiar with the territory, but it's called the El Springs Resort, and it's cool. You get out there, and if you like fly fishing or fishing in general for trout, and listen, I'm not talking about trouser trout. I'm talking about trout.
Well, when you grow up in Webster County.
No, listen though, it is absolutely fantastic. They have there's a restaurant down there. There's cabins you can rent. There's a resort there, and then we went and it's just a magnificent.
Feed the trout.
To see the elk,
raise them.
the Elk River is not like the West Fork. We're used to the West Fork, and the West Fork is very stagnant, and it's very, I don't want to say polluted of dead bodies, but it sort of is sometimes. Yeah. It can be. But you go down there and it's pristine.
Once every 2 months.
There's a lot of rocks and it's just almost like you're looking at a Cabela's magazine.
It's really pretty there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I watched
you
it-
still having problems, Jan?
both my phone and my tablet. Neither one of them will play the video.
Mine's playing.
Really?
Mine's playing.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
Yeah. So what have you guys been doing? Anything since we talked last?
Hey, my granddaughter had a birthday. She had a birthday.
I watched Avengers Friday.
Okay.
Hey.
Tell me about the birthday, and then we'll talk about the Avengers. Because the Avengers, this movie came out, the opening day was Thursday, right? The latest Avengers
Thursday night, yeah.
Thursday night with the Marvel
Sleep Movie,
series.
yeah.
This thing is so big. These movies are so big.
Boing.
James Cameron hates them. He said, get off the superhero movies because they're growing tired.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm growing very old of watching these things. However, nobody else is, except, only people that's growing old of watching anything is like Avatar 15 that he's making, right?
Yeah.
That's still in the works.
So
right?
this movie that came out this weekend, yeah, I think so. This movie that came out this weekend called the Avengers
Infinity Wars.
Infinity, which you can, by the way, see it that was over at the Ellis, which is open up again. The local
Yeah, they had
drive-in.
Black Panther and
the Avengers.
Bad part about it is they had them flip-flopped. They had the
Black
Avengers
Panther
movie first and Black Panther second.
Right.
Well, if you're into the Marvel series, you would probably want to do that. However, if you're the Ellis and you want people to come and watch movies because who can stay up till 11 o'clock at night? The Avengers being the big movie, that's the draw.
I'll bet you that thing was. I bet the Ellis was packed.
I'm sure it was. But the Avengers is such a big movie that it is the #1 release. It took over the #1 release as far as money goes at the box office, and it beat Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it. Like I said, the only problem is there's so many superheroes in it is that they don't get enough screen time.
Because they all come together in this one, right? They all come together.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to see.
Most
Not really all come together, but they all
That was
apart.
That was Morton Downey Jr. in this one too.
Morton Downey Jr. is in it.
Is it? Sip it.
What
Maybe
the
got
hell?
Another day
Well, we got some. We got some new listeners on here.
It
Though.
must
We
just
got,
be when I sat
we
beside
got a
you.
Brenda
Whoever I
Clark
sat
Boyer.
beside.
Hello,
and
Brenda.
We got, Trixie Divine.
Trixie Divine. Let me tell you something. What we need to do is talk about Trixie Divine. Now, I'm not sure. Where's Trixie Divine actually from? While Chad's fixing his
Taylor
microphone.
County.
Las Vegas.
Taylor County.
Las Vegas.
She's on the strip.
Now, Trixie Divine sounds like it's something you'd see in Speed Racer. You'd hear in Speed Racer. That's like a cool name. Trixie Divine.
Trixie was the name.
Was that the name of the
Trixie was her name.
Yeah,
Trixie,
Yeah, Trixie was the name.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Trixie Divine.
Come on.
From Grafton? Jimmy from Grafton?
Taylor County.
Trixie Divine. She doesn't know Donald Trump, but there might be a reason why did we think that. Because we haven't heard about it yet. Trixie Divine. She dances Saturday night with Vaughn Haggerty.
She's probably like, who's Vaughn Haggerty?
And why are you picking on me? No, Trixie, we just like your name. Anytime somebody has a really cool name, we like to we call you out like that.
Yeah, like James Hall. James Hall's on here.
That's
Hello.
Jim in
Yeah,
Georgia.
Hello, Jim from down in Georgia.
Clinton Monroe's on here.
Clint Monroe. We have we have any information on the Ride for Life coming up?
Just that it is on
August.
August
Yeah.
18th, I believe.
18th.
Okay.
Registration
August 18th.
starts at 10 a.m. at the roadhouse.
Yeah, we'll have Clinton in here obviously beforehand.
My equipment's malfunctioning in here. I'd have more information.
Keep your personal life out.
Chris Musgrove just joined us.
Anybody know a good urologist out there?
I work with some of them. There's some of
Yeah, you do.
That's
Oh
good.
yeah, of course Michelle would know.
Oh, that's right, because Michelle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Having to deal with your ass all the time.
Yeah.
Linda Griffith's on here. She wants to know what kind of water does the Nutter Fort have. What kind of water?
Not for Clarksburg.
It says Nutter Fort. She says what kind of water does Nutter Fort have?
Clarksburg water.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's
same
good
river?
water. It's good
Oh.
water.
Same river.
Good.
Clarksburg's got good water, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm,
Never, dude.
Not a fort. It's kind of separated between.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, 'cause some
Hit right
half
there.
my
Hit
rally-
that center in that mic, Brucey.
Yeah, I mean, like same way as
Well, how long
Stonewood,
you been doing
Stonewood,
this?
and not a fort. It's kind of you
right,
know,
right.
totally different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
like getting
still
water
got to share.
bills.
Yeah.
From Clarksburg.
Clarksburg's a
and-
pretty big water department,
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
as Shinston is also.
Pam Ramsey joined us, Chuck.
Hello, Pam. How are you doing?
Hi, Pam.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Here's the thing that when we were driving back from Webster Springs today, now I'm going to ask you this, and this is going to be a heated conversation, and if it annoys you or if you're one of these drivers, then you know what? I'm sorry about that, but we're going to insult some people. basically.
Are you going to insult me?
Probably.
Okay.
But it's not just.
I drove back today, so.
Right.
Here we go.
So let's talk about when you're driving a car.
Yes.
Okay, you're on the car, and let's talk about pet peeves. I have a few of them. One of them,
Really? I never knew that.
People from Pennsylvania and Ohio, for whatever reason, they like to lollygag in the passing, the cruising lane when they're going down the interstate.
State, dude.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't see it so much in West Virginia.
I do.
Well, yeah, if you Pennsylvania plate and Ohio plate, yeah, you'll see that. So today, Michelle, she had her cruise on 70. She's trying to pass cars, but the car wasn't on cruise, and we're doing this entire,
speed up.
I hate that too. I did. I went up
happened.
2 miles per hour.
And so I'm just thinking, if I'm by somebody, if I'm sticking beside somebody for more than 2 minutes, you know what? I'm going to floor it to get out of the situation, first of all, and then
You're breaking the law.
That's okay. I break the law every single day.
He's a lawbreaker.
breaking the law.
So then I look in the back. Now, Michelle's driving. She's doing her thing. She's driving. We're talking about the great weekend that we have. And I look in the side mirror, and I see this parade of cars behind her in the cruising lane. I said, don't be that person.
Care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I'm going the speed limit.
If you're in the right lane,
So if
you
they
can
want to go faster than that,
That's a passing lane. It's not a cruising lane.
Right.
I was
Doesn't matter if
passing.
you're going to speed
You
limit or
weren't
not.
passing.
I was. It just
You look
took
like
me
you
a
were in the
little
beginning.
longer.
You look like you were in a restrictor plate race
I
going down the
knew.
side of the Daytona or
Doesn't
something.
matter.
I knew this.
If you're
was
going
going
the
to be
same-
about me. I knew it. I
the
should have never
speed,
came on
then
this
you
show.
get behind that and you just cruise behind that other one.
No, but that was the point. Now, here's another one. Here's another one for me.
I was passing them. It was just taking a little bit longer.
It took about 15 miles.
Oh.
And that's okay.
You're over-exaggerating. You know what? And Chuck
I hate
said,
that.
Chuck does
said,
that all
"Babe,
the time.
I hate that.
Babe, there's a whole line of cars behind you." I said, "I don't care. I'm going to speed limit, and I'm almost by this guy. They're just going to have to wait."
That's when I
See,
love.
I'll
When,
give it a
that's when I love when a cop comes up behind them and just flicks their lights on and then it makes them move and then like.
Well, then they're an emergency vehicle. Then you would have to like.
Well, the bad part about it is, isn't it the law now that if you're trailing, or if you've got cars trailing behind you, you
In the
have
passing
to
lane,
get
yeah.
out.
Oh, see, I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken, it is a law now. You
Depends
have
on the
to
state.
move
I don't
over.
know about
Or
West
if it's
Virginia,
not a
but-
law, it should be a courtesy.
Yeah.
Get the hell out.
A
of the way.
courtesy ticket. You don't. This is called the dumbass ticket.
But this isn't about you. I was just using that as a circumstance. Listen, I wasn't driving.
Look
You
at
were
that
driving. You're a
Look at that
great
look.
driver.
It didn't take 15
Exactly.
miles. I
Listen,
was passing
Like
a
Chuck
vehicle.
Nicholson says,
He had
if
it right.
you pass on the right, you're in the wrong lane.
Yeah. Said, if I pass you on the right, you are in
If
the
I
wrong
pass you
lane.
But-
on the right.
Well, nobody could pass on the right. I was passing a tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Not
But
really.
that's not why I brought this conversation up. I'm talking about things that really.
I knew.
I wasn't that.
it's-
Okay, let me tell you what drives me
knew it.
crazy. Let me-
Backpedaling now,
and then
Jimmy.
now this is nothing about speed. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
Oh,
And then this is after I picked the car up out of the post office and we're driving home. Well, by this time, Michelle, she decides that she knows how to use the accelerator. She's home like 15 minutes before I get out of the post office parking lot, right? But I'm following this person on Meadowbrook Road, which is a local road, how we get back home here. Every time there's a curve coming up, every time there's a little bit of a turn, they hit their brakes first.
Oh,
Hey,
Every single time.
you're
And I'm like,
already
and
probably
I can
going
almost
10 miles under the speed limit.
and I can almost call. Well, they're going 55 and a 45. Then they come up to a turn. Then they hit the brakes, and now all of a sudden we're down to 25. And then they start going back to 55.
again, that could be a young driver.
Then
just learning.
You're right,
so
Michelle.
give somebody the benefit
Well,
of the doubt.
somebody better
Listen
teach
to your
them.
wife.
You don't always have to
When
be in
that
road
new
rage.
when that new driver
24/7.
has a darker beard than I do, it's not a,
Not a
Maybe
new
they
driver.
just got their
Not a new
license
driver.
this year.
But that's like it very well could be. However, I was
could be
behind
your
him, and that's a pet
grandmother.
peeve.
It could be your
If
mother.
listen,
It
I would
could be
cuss
your
Pope.
father.
If Jesus had a Corvette and he was doing that, I'd cuss Jesus.
You know what I
with you.
hate is when they're going like 20 miles under the speed limit in a single lane, and then as it breaks into a spot where you can pass them, then they go really fast.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Then you can't keep up
That's
with
when you
them.
wish you were a millionaire and you could just wreck them off the road and keep going.
that's why I'm not allowed to buy a brush guard for the front of my truck.
Listen, there's another dude that I follow, and if I get it just right, and it's just like on a time schedule, right? And if I'll get right behind him, if I leave the post office coming home, if I leave 5 minutes late than I normally do, boom, I'm stuck behind this guy. We go 35 miles an hour from Meadowbrook for about 8 miles all the way to Lumberport
hope he's
when it
listening.
says 25 miles an hour. Okay.
I hope he's on here.
Okay, I hope so too. But here's the strange thing. He goes 10 miles below the speed limit the entire time that we're going in a 45 until we get to Lumberport and it turns into a 25 zone. At which point he goes 10 miles over the speed limit. The guy's very consistent.
He drive?
He drives a Jeep.
He drives a
He drives a
gray
brand new white truck that's sitting out there in the driveway.
a Toyota Tacoma
you
has
know
a
better than
a
that.
Star Trek thing in it.
That's my truck, bro.
No, but it's like, come on, man. Well, give me.
Megan said that could be me. Like we said, people learning to drive.
Yeah.
She better go back to school. Have you seen her car?
Oh, I know, right?
Oh,
God love her.
man.
Well, give me something. What else drives you
Bumper
nuts?
cars. Hey, hey, Melinda. Melinda's on here. Say
Hello,
hi,
Melinda.
Truck
Hey,
drivers.
Melinda.
When another truck tries to pass, and they're going up a hill,
Where they have
and
a full
they
load.
can't, and they can't end up passing, and then they have to slow down and get back behind them. Oh,
Or they just do this thing. They just I call it the Michelle maneuver, and they do for like 5 miles going up a hill, and they're just side by side by side.
I'll tell you what drives me crazy.
What drives
This
you
is the
crazy?
thing that drives me
Tell
crazy.
us. We're
Chuck bringing this up.
Well, besides that, because that's number one, is rude drivers.
Like
Don't
Chuck?
be
Like
rude.
Chuck?
Yeah, like driving.
Like who cares?
Yeah, like not moving
Hey,
over. And
hey,
Like that road rage that everybody has.
Don't be
every
rude, says the
time
woman
they're
that
in a
cuts through
vehicle.
parking lot because she don't want to stop at a red light.
says
Carol
Well,
says
I'm
Rubbin's
not-
racing.
Hey, I'm not cussing
Rubbin's
anybody. I'm
racing.
just going through the parking lot.
you know what? Hey,
I'm
listen,
happy as can be.
You know what chaps my ass
Kill 4
sometimes?
kids on the way through.
Like when you're
what chaps your ass? I'm guessing when you ride your bicycle without the seat on it.
Oh no, that's kind of nice.
Or you wear your chaps without jeans underneath.
Listen, this is what kills
Hey,
me when
cheap
there's
jars.
when there's like 3 lanes, right? You got the left lane, you got the middle lane, and you got the right lane. Well, somebody is in the far left lane, but when they get up so far, they figure out, oh, wait a minute, I have to go, and they try to cross over 2 lanes of traffic.
Oh, yeah,
because
right
they
in
got to
front of
get they got to turn to the right, so they stop all they have to stop the car behind them. Then somebody in my lane has to let them out. Then they got to merge into the right.
You got to
lane.
be understanding.
you-
Maybe they changed. Maybe this guy's wife was saying, "No, I decided I wanted to go eat there," and he's
She's
like,
wrong.
Oh,
Then
my
then
She's
Lord.
wrong.
That's
no, he's
yeah.
trying to make her happy.
Yeah, and that guy's getting crazy because he probably asked her 20 times,
Yeah.
where
What
do you
do
want to
you
eat?
want
I
to
don't
eat?
know.
I
I
don't
don't
care.
know.
What
I
do you
don't
want to
care.
eat?
What do you- I
He's
don't
trying to
know.
make
I
her
don't know.
happy. See, for
I
I
got
know
one
last
even
minute.
better.
That's where I want to go.
every one of these instances that you
hate
guys
that.
give that make you mad, there's
Yeah.
something going on.
Yeah, it's the
I got
woman.
one for you.
The
I
one,
got
the
one
one
for
that
you.
makes me mad, the one that really makes me mad is when you're on the interstate and you're just cruising. You got to set on cruise control. You're doing fine. You know, you got a good speed. You're passing people. You know, you left lane, right lane, and then you're in the right lane for a while, and then some jerk comes up and just pulls right up on your tail light there and rides right there with you, just steady right beside you.
I hate that.
Either pass me or get
Or, yeah.
behind me,
Yeah.
something, but don't ride beside me.
Let me ask you this: when you're using cruise control, I'll use cruise control, but a lot of times I don't because cruise control is great, and this is something I learned years ago
Do a
driving
road trip, maybe.
going through New York, especially, is that when you or Massachusetts when you get around Boston, if you're going to use cruise control, go about 5 to 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. Because if you don't, and you're playing the traffic game, you're constantly going fast, slow. You go slow enough, everybody's just going to pass you. They're going to cuss you, but you're never going. You could stay on cruise control. Now, when it comes to cruise control, do you use it when it rains?
No.
No, I do not.
I did up until you just told me not to a couple weeks ago.
Do you use cruise control?
I never use cruise control. Bro.
I barely use it.
But if it's
Yeah,
raining,
really,
what's
come
the
on,
problem?
road
What's the
trip.
problem if it's raining?
Yeah,
Tell
I
me.
didn't know either.
Well, with mine being rear wheel drive, and being in the truck, no weight in the rear end.
Fishtail.
That thing's what's going to make that thing not fishtail out from underneath of me, lose control, that kind of
Well,
stuff.
it's all based upon, just like with cruise control when it's raining, if you get into a spot where it's too much rain and you start to hydroplane a little bit, your wheels don't stop turning, so
I
it's going to
see.
make it even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that really chaps my ass.
Is it riding a bicycle without a seat?
No, I'm like you. I kind of enjoy that.
That's what I thought.
But coming down to East Point Plaza,
Yeah.
you're trying to make that left-hand turn
Mm-hmm,
because you got to get over and get onto Fairmont or get on the 79 headed towards Fairmont. You get in the right lane.
Right.
Right.
And as you make that turn, but no, as you're sitting in line to stay in that right lane, you got people that come out, pass you in the left lane and sit there. They go around the turns, and then they dart their ass right over in
Yeah.
front of you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Knowing that they're wanting to be in that right lane anyway because they got to make that right.
They're trying to be the
So
right
why,
hand
didn't they get in that lane that they're supposed to be in way back there because they know where they're going?
Here's what I've got in the habit of doing.
Oh, God.
I've learned how to time the turbo in the truck coming around that turn. They come around that turn, and I can see them. They're zipping on up there. They're thinking they're getting beside me. About that time, wham! I put that pedal to the floor, get over there, and you could almost say it's a drag race. You don't know how many people I put in the grass. I will not let you dart over. I set my ass in this damn lane. You should have too.
See, you know what? It's the same thing, Chuck. You know when you're going down the 4-lane there on Meadowbrook Road? Then right before the FBI where you have to merge into one lane, and I'll see this guy on my left. And he's coming up fast because he's trying to get in front of me so he can get in. I don't let him.
Well, that's right there off of the South Fairmont exit heading towards Muriel's and all that.
Same thing.
Coming through where the gas stations are and everything. Everybody wants that left-hand lane, man. We're going to go flying down through here. Let's see who gets here first. My girlfriend's the same. She's just as bad as I am.
Listen, let me tell you something.
You'll die.
Well, here's where I used to do it a lot. We're coming down from Clarksburg. Now, we're talking local stuff here, but I'm sure it pertains to wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Well, you're going down a 4-lane, and then say you're in your 2 lanes, but the turn off is, say to the right because you want to get on the interstate. It's an exit ramp. Well, the thing is, in this particular circumstance that I'm talking about, there's a lot of stoplights, and one goes into town. If you're into the right lane, or the left lane, it'll go into town. The right lane will take you to the interstate, right? This is coming down 50 going on 79. Well, a lot of people will try to beat the light, try to beat the traffic, because most people are already in the right, knowing they're going to get on 79. But you'll have a couple of them dudes come down here and fly on the left lane, and at the very last minute squeeze themselves into traffic to get on 79. Now, listen. I'll watch them. I'll even hold back to kind of bait them a little bit. And I give them a little bit of space. I was like, okay, who are we going to catch today? And then when I see this car come back, then all of a sudden, I'm doing this. I'm slowing up, breaking down, slowing up, breaking down, slowing up. And so they can never get on 79. And I'm like, I feel accomplished. Now, the one thing that hasn't happened to me yet, I haven't had a gun pulled on me, and I haven't been hit. Somebody hasn't tried to run me off the road. It's bound to happen. Just because.
Here's another one about that intersection right there at East Point.
Oh, the intersection of idiots.
When you come down on 50 and you're turning right to get into East Point Plaza, when you come down and get in that right lane to turn into East Point Plaza, if your ass is going to Texas Roadhouse or any other place that keeps going right,
stop.
Keep driving.
Yeah, you don't have to stop unless you're yielding to go left.
Exactly.
It's a solid white line.
It's a solid white line right there.
That's what Carol was saying right there.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. That she said, just go. These people will come to a stop and let all the people that are coming cross traffic.
And if you're
and that's fine. But they've got a lane to either turn left or continue right. We've got a lane to turn right. Keep your ass going.
Well, here's the great thing, because
people, I will lay on the horn every time.
And here's what happens. This people coming from Bridgeport crossing over, or Lodgeville. Okay, they're in that left lane as you're coming into East Point, and everybody knows what we're talking about. Chad's just talking about if you're in that right lane, then just stay. It's a solid white. You don't have to yield unless you're going to the left to go to Wendy's or something like that. Now, if you're coming from Bridgeport or Lodgeville and you're trying to beat that red light and you're trying to cross lanes, I hope somebody hits me one day, because I'll have every disease in the book that I didn't have before, and their insurance is going to pay for it.
Hey, you know what?
But the funny thing is, well, real quick, they try to beat the light because it's red. Because they can't look up where that red light is and look up 2 inches, and it says
stop, and then
it's
go.
a right on red, and it says,
stop, look, and then go.
I was going to bring that up.
That's what it is. There's a sign that says that.
It says it right.
But how many people do you get behind at that light right there that says stop, and they
stay there?
Stop,
sit there
because
till
there's a red
light turns green.
It's a right on red.
Probably one of my biggest pet peeves is if you're at a red light and it turns green and the person in front of you must be on a cell phone or something, and they're just sitting there, and you're like,
go! Well, especially if you get into Anmore or down at the coming off 79 to hit the Meadowbrook light. Listen, 3 cars, that's it.
Yeah.
3 cars, and that's it.
Go.
You can't screw around. And when we went up to New York there late last year, I guess, in December, that's what, I'm very aggressive there, because you can't screw. I mean, people are going to hit you, so you just have to make a line. They'll adjust just like you will. But I was driving like a maniac in that, thank goodness for Dodge Caravans that we got from Enterprise with ball tires when we got it back.
Well, all right, I got a question. I think we pretty much know what the answers are going to be. Somebody aggravates you at a damn stoplight, won't move. Blow the horn or not?
Blow the horn.
Yeah.
I blow the horn.
I have to. I rarely hit the horn.
blow the horn.
But it just depends. If it's more than say 10 seconds, I'll do that. But if it's like in the first couple seconds,
I don't.
Probably not.
Oh no, I mean you got to give them a 5-second leeway. If their ass is, you see their head down and they're playing with their damn phone, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna lay on the horn.
Yeah, that's why I need my damn train horns.
Yep, I'm not going to just beep, beep.
Let me tell you.
I'll lay on that thing too.
Let me tell you something else that we didn't have years ago. Now we have Bluetooth in cars. Okay, so I have a real bad, and you can ask Michelle. When I get behind somebody or something, listen, I'm a cussing machine.
Well, you're not as bad because I said I'm not going to go with you anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad.
So he's gotten much better.
So let me give you an example. I'm down there at this intersection I was talking about earlier, off Meadowbrook Road. Light turns green. The guy takes too long. 2 cars get out, and I'm the 4th car. I said, I could have been behind. And so he gets stuck too, and I'm cussing him. I'm looking him right in the mirror. He's looking right at me, and I'm cussing him, right? So I'm thinking,
because you could have already been gone.
Yeah, and I'm cussing, and he's looking at me. So what do? I'm thinking, now after a little time blows off, which is about maybe a 30 seconds or something, I'm thinking, okay, well, this could get kind of bad if he rolls his window down and starts wanting to fight and everything else, because I'm an old man now. I don't do any of that. So then I said, well, how am I going to get out of this so he doesn't think I was actually cussing him, because I was looking right at him, telling him to F and go, right? So then we get beside each other, and I'm acting like I'm talking on Bluetooth. Like, he's looking at me. It's like I'm talking. I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, I'm doing all this crazy stuff. Got to act like I'm talking to somebody on the car.
Oh, he must have not been.
Well, he wasn't cussing me back there like a crazy man. He must be fighting with his wife or something. I don't know.
Why had it been? See, I pull up right beside him and I look him dead in the eye, and I actually mouth it. What the F are you doing?
Well,
see, I'll do that same thing. I'll pull up beside him and I'll mouth out. I'll just say, "Dumbass."
Yeah.
And then their whole face drops open like.
Yeah.
Well, I've had it done when I haven't done anything though. Like sometimes I got my hand up on the steering wheel and I'm like going to the music or something. They think I'm doing something,
right?
And I'll go drive by and I see a finger come out the window and I'm like, I didn't do it.
Probably Michelle.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something else is great too, and then we're going to get we're going to give some shout outs. We were coming. Where were we going? No, we were taking a boat. I was coming, meeting Chad.
You cut someone off in the boat.
And I'm going. And we had somebody from PA. You know, they're notorious for once again going back to the whole cruising in the cruising in the passing lane, right? So I go up because I'm getting tired of this dude, and I go up beside of him and pass him on the left side, like what Clinton was talking about. So then all of a sudden, I always look back to see if I get a reaction. Yeah. Because he's probably, I don't know, he's gray hair, but I'm gray hair, so he's probably in anywhere from 40 to dead, right? So then, so all I see is him driving, and he just does this. As he's driving. Yeah. And I'm thinking, why do you not know why I passed you on the inside lane? Why did you not know that? Well, because you're going 65 in the passing lane, dude.
Exactly.
Get out. If you're going to go 65 in the passing lane, just stay in there. Just stay in there.
I got one more, man. The thing that just really irritates me something. And I'll throw shit at you and everything. It's tailgating.
Yeah. I hate tailgaters.
Somebody tailgates me, boy, I'll start throwing bottles. I will throw things at you. You tailgate me.
The only time I think tailgating is acceptable is if you're going like way under the speed limit in the left lane.
Right.
Or to a WVU football game.
Or if you're putting a $1 bill in the back of Trixie Daniels when she's dancing.
Carol
she doesn't
actually
dance, by the way. I just like that name.
She was doing 80 miles an hour, brake check someone in the passing lane. She laid it down, boy. I guess the nose of the car went diving into the pavement and everything else. They backed off.
Yeah, heck yeah.
What's up, Steve? What's up? Let's see. Lisa, she's the same as me. She has all these problems. Let's go ahead and give some shout-outs. Go ahead and throw some emoji out there because we like that stuff.
Cindy
Now, what's going to happen in the next few weeks, we're going to have, since we have daylight hours, we're trying to decide now how we're going to do the show. Because Sundays are going to be probably boating, grandkids, motorcycle riding. Did you guys ride your bikes today?
No.
Too cold?
That was cold.
So we're going to, in the next few, maybe in the beginning of June, we're going to have all that worked out. The podcast, if you're listening as the podcast goes, nothing's going to change. It's still going to be come Mondays. But maybe as far as the video goes, because everybody has different things to do. We're going to do some more location stuff. We're going to give away. Where is that? What's that? When are we going to give that $10 million away? That might be next week.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or
maybe
it might be the next
$10 million.
I think we're about $10 short, so we have to.
Yeah,
we might have to wait until Mother's Day.
Okay, we're going to try that.
Oh, that would be it. Oh. Are we going to be here Mother's Day?
Mother's Day? Ooh, Mother's Day now. Out.
Okay.
Probably not.
Yeah, not for Mother's Day.
Well, I was going to say it was going to be awful damn tight for me anyway because that's when I get back from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I get home that day. Well, the bad part about it is I get on a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning. And my mother stays in Oklahoma. So how the hell am I supposed to work his out?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. Who we have on here? Tell me somebody.
We got
Parker
Debbie
Fulton.
Hey, Debbie Murphy jumped on here.
Debbie. Hello, Debbie.
Megan.
Barbara Carpenter.
Hello, Megan.
Megan
What's up?
Southern.
What's
and
up,
you know
Barb?
what?
Is Barb and Tim still down in Daytona?
Today's their last
Today
day.
was her last day.
Oh,
They'll be
you're
on
probably
their way
driving
home.
back. Yeah.
Becky Feathers jumped on.
Hello, Becky.
Parker Fulton.
Becky. Parker, yeah.
Parker. Yeah.
Steve Ice.
Hello, Steve. Once again, we want
Chuck
to remind
Nicholson.
you, Chuck. Melinda, we want to remind
Brent
you about
Harris.
John Castle. He's got a new CD out. He's performing all over the place, and we're going to go ahead once it warms up. Once again, it could have been this weekend, but it wasn't because it's like 30 degrees outside. It seems like. But John's going to be all over the place. If you want to book John, and when we have him in here, you're going to want to do that. I'm just going to write this number down. It's 304-694-9369. That's for John Castle. We'll have some. But where's some other places you can see him? He's Parker's.
You know what? If you got nothing to do in May, on Thursday on the 3rd from 7 to 10, he's going to be at Starkey's Old Time Bar and Grill. That's on Martin Street there in Mannington, West Virginia. On the 5th of May from 5 to 10, he's going to be at North Marion High School. They're having a dinner up there sponsored by the Knights of Columbus. On the 4th of May from 8 to 11, he's going to be in New Martinsville.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to copy and paste his schedule link and put it in the show notes, and that way you guys can get on there and check that shit out.
Yeah, that'll be good. John's a great singer, and you're going to find that out when we actually have him in here. He's fantastic. He is fantastic.
Yeah.
We probably need to get a date set aside too in May for John Henry Band.
And John Henry Band.
Yeah.
I mean,
they said they'll come in, but
It's just
they obviously need
Zach's
going
to come in. We're going to have him from. He used to work at Think and Ink, and he's a great tattoo artist.
What's his name?
Zach, right?
Yeah,
Zach Grimm.
Yeah, Zach Grimm.
You're Zach.
Yeah, he did my tattoo.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact,
The little butterfly.
No, the one Todd's got
my
a
tramp stamp.
The tramp stamp.
that says enter here.
Unicorns.
It says exit only right there.
That's awful.
In the front.
That's awful. So those are some of the
by
things.
my butthole, bro.
Jeez, dude, what are we talking about?
Yeah, he asked me where that tattoo was.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true. I mean, it really is there.
Chuck ignores it. He's because we said earlier, he's a
Chuck
rule
knows when he's
breaker.
entering.
Yeah. So anyway, that's some of the things coming up. John Castle coming in here, the John Henry Band. We have Zach, tattoo artist extraordinary. I wonder if he would give somebody like a prison tattoo in here while he's in here talking about his podcast.
Like a teardrop?
I don't know, but use like an ink pen, and you know how they used to do that back in prison.
Prison tattoo.
Yeah. Have you never?
Oh yeah, you don't know about? Oh well, I used to be a corrections officer, so I've seen all the old.
And I'm a hardcore criminal, so don't mess with me because I'll slice your throat.
Chuck has been in the
Hardcore criminal.
He is, man.
Yeah, one time he stole a candy bar.
Yeah. And he had to sit in.
Yeah.
And then he
Time
took back
out.
2.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You're a good
And
man.
I had my thumb gun or my finger gun in my pocket.
Your thumb gun.
Mm-hmm. But tell him real quick. I mean, they just get ink and they just kind of when
I've
love
Yeah,
and hate on
basically,
there.
basically they just take a needle and where the ball goes
Well,
through.
now, we're not talking about what happens in what's the prison break. We're talking about
Exit only, remember?
Well, where the ball point goes through on the pin, they'll just basically take a needle and thread it through that section.
Yeah.
And they'll just poke away.
Donnie Everett kills me.
Urine and cigarette ashes.
Donnie Everett is jealous because he's never seen my stretchy taint.
This Saturday with Vaughn Haggerty, you're going to see Todd's stretchy taint back live from Prison Break scene number 64. Watch Todd get a tattoo. Watch Todd cry. Watch Todd laugh.
Hey, real quick, do we want to throw this out here? May the 12th, the day before Mother's Day. It's the second day in May.
Hell yeah, it is. It's also Food Drive Day at the post office.
That's right. I'm trying to get
I'm sorry,
you and
Ken.
Brucey extra work having to carry this stuff back.
Hey, buddy, I'm off at
What happens as far as the food drive goes across the country? The National Association of Letter Carriers, which is your everyday mailman, and with some help in some offices with the rural routes, they have a big food drive. And what you can do is we can have Becky Wade. Is she the coordinator again this year?
She is.
Yes,
Okay,
she is.
we'll have Becky come in. Basically, what happens is they come to your door. You leave some canned food out or non-perishable goods at your house. They'll pick them up. They take them, and then they distribute those to local food banks when they come back to the post office. Like I know the post office that we work at, they have maybe like 5, 6, sometimes even up to 10 food pantries that come in, and they split it up, and then they that's how they restock their things.
It's really good.
Hey, and let me tell you something. It becomes a little bit of a competition too. we've got both Clarksburg and Bridgeport carriers in our office. And let me tell you something. It's always a competition on which city brought back more food.
Really?
You know what? So if you like your postman or postwoman, make sure
load
that they get loaded down.
Load them down.
Send as much as you possibly can out there if you want your city to win in your area.
Especially if it rains, put it in cardboard boxes because there is
Or
also a
paper bag.
competition. They also
Or
get
paper bags.
They all get a free day. What is how did it work? I don't remember. I haven't carried for a while. They get a free week.
We physically could have worked, let's say 10 hours, but we only get paid 8.
You only get paid for
Right.
8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there's no overtime that day.
There's no overtime.
No. But it's a good thing. The National Food Drive coming up May 12th, and that's always good. And you'd be amazed, like your local food banks
Now, is that
around the area.
everywhere or just here?
Around everywhere in the United States.
everywhere in the
Oh, it's the whole United States.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chuck never had to eat lunch that day. Never had to eat lunch.
Now listen,
because he had a truck full of food.
Yeah.
But that's the one day out of the year that I would like pork rinds, those little Jello pops. There would be all kinds of great stuff in there.
The pudding pops?
We haven't heard that for a long time. We haven't heard that. Bill Cosby, he's obviously in trouble. He's going to jail now.
Is he going to jail?
Yep.
He really is. I
Convicted.
mean, he was convicted.
He's going to be with Jared from
He
Subway.
didn't walk out of the courtroom. He walked straight to jail.
No kidding.
Somebody was putting his ass in jail.
Give me some Bill Cosby. If you haven't heard, we haven't done a Bill Cosby thing for a long time. Give me some Bill. We haven't done impressions for a long time.
Todd was the impression man.
I was.
Yeah.
I'll do my Bill Cosby.
Get Bill Cosby.
I never thought for 2 minutes that I would be convicted of taking my pill and pop and putting it into a pudding pop hole.
No, I do have a.
That's just funny. That's just funny.
Now I'm going to go to prison and I'm going to get myself stuck into my pudding pop.
He's going to a penal institution.
Hey, Gary Lanham just said something on there. He said, "What
Yeah.
about the mess with the Shinson McDonald's? What's going on
What's
down
going
there?"
on
I have
there?
no idea
I
what's
haven't
going on
heard
down there.
Haven't heard anything.
Somebody knows
Well,
us.
listen, I
Let's
know,
drove
one
right
thing,
by it.
I know one thing about Shinson McDonald's. Before you leave the drive-through, make sure you got everything in your bag. Because I don't know how many times I drove by that Shinson McDonald's.
Gary, what's going on
I
down
don't
there?
think I ever got an order right there.
No.
Hey, listen, mine's pretty easy. We just go down there and get about 30 cheeseburgers, and that's it. You can't mess that up.
Ours is easy. I need 30 cheeseburgers, 2 baskets of fries, and that's all.
Let's do another. Let's do Sylvester Stallone.
Yay.
Oh, come on, give me Sylvester Stallone.
Yo, Adrian, open your prize, Adrian.
Open
Now,
your prize.
Give me.
Yeah, that's what he.
that's what he called it.
And number 2, that's what he called it.
Have you ever seen the movie Arthur? Where Dudley Moore's
Which
in
one?
it?
Yes.
Dudley Moore.
Yes.
Dudley
Dudley
Moore,
Moore's,
the original.
yeah. Yes.
Go ahead and give me
I
Arthur.
can't really do Arthur. I can't really remember how Arthur goes. He has a.
Okay,
little
we'll
Brit-
go ahead and pass him up. There's 2 impressions that Todd actually won a contest for on the radio out in L.A. K107 LAX
and then
Z4.
And then Rock
Yeah.
with the.
94Z, the Tampa Bay Lightning station. Anyway, but anyway, the one was this was one which is the second to the first one. His runner-up impression is John Wayne.
Well, I'm not gonna hit you. Well, the hell I ain't.
Okay.
Now, which one of his movies did that come from?
McClintock?
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
See?
Well, I'm not gonna hit you, Pilgrim. Well, the hell I ain't.
That's pretty good, right?
Now I'll tell you. Now the one that won him all the money. This won him a Snickers bar, and it was fantastic.
Pee Wee Herman?
This was from Power 107, Love Jams of New York City. You can check them out online on Stitcher or something. This was the one that made him famous. And one of his biggest characters, and I know Eric loves him too, is Morgan Freeman.
My name's Morgan Freeman.
That doesn't sound like nothing like him. give me your real. Listen, Todd came to work one day and he goes, because he's always working on impressions, right? And he goes, listen to this. I've got Morgan Freeman down to a T. I've got him. I've got it. I've listened to it. Vicky could tell you that's all he talked about. Full glass of water and all, half lemon juice, whatever he was talking about. And I was like, okay, give it to me. Let me hear it.
Well, Andy Dufresne was a tall glass of water.
And I'm like, dude, that doesn't. I'm like, that wasn't. I was like, listen, that don't sound anything like Morgan Freeman.
Really
Okay.
does.
I'll
It's
tell you,
fun.
that's my
Sling Blade.
favorite one.
I was going to say I want to hear you
said
try
Sling
Sling
Blade.
Blade.
Yeah.
Sling Blade. Okay.
Got any of them French fried taters in there?
Yeah, that's spot on.
I like putting mustard on my French fries.
I'll tell you one of my favorite
Sourdough
is Jar Jar.
Oh no! Yeah!
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Say, ooh, smells good.
Jar Jar's
No.
great, man.
Hold on, let me find out. Listen, Michelle, do you know who Jar Jar Binks is?
Do you know why he does Jar Jar
Oh,
so
man.
good? Because everybody hates Jar Jar.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who Jar Jar
I
is?
love Jar Jar. Though.
Okay, Jar Jar is a Star Wars character off of the what was it,
wasn't
Clone
that-
Wars?
Nailed it.
Yeah.
He started on the first one.
Okay,
so
now
dumb.
I want you to now close your eyes.
I thought you was talking about Jar Jar Jabor. Like the woman.
Jar Jar, darling.
Okay, now what I want you to do, Michelle, I want you to close your eyes. So I don't want you to look at the screen, and I want you to listen to this. And this will be Jar Jar, and then I'm gonna have you listen to Todd, and I'm gonna tell you the
Oh, but
difference.
you're not going to tell me who's.
No, I'll actually tell you.
Which one's which?
Okay, let's see. We're gonna go ahead. This is off of YouTube, by the way. Let's see. Here we go. You got the camera on, Todd? Okay. I just wanted to hear him talk.
Yeah, and of course we got like 30 seconds of this before he says anything.
Okay, here we go. They didn't even say anything.
I love you. You almost got us killed. Are you brainless?
I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
No, Mr. Stay. Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. Your humble servant.
Okay, now you're going to listen to Jar Jar in the studio.
No, Mr. Jar Jar Binks. May I be your servant?
That's very good.
It's pretty close, isn't
That's
it?
very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, Miss,
Now
I
that's
love you
now look
long
on the
time.
screen, and that's what Jar Jar is.
Let's get out of here before more droids show up.
Which
The one in the
The
middle.
lizard-looking dude.
What did you speak?
They kind of look alike too, don't they?
Excuse me, but the most safest place would be Gonga City. It's the most safest
that was like
place
the worst
was
thing
in
they
Gonga
ever did.
City.
That
You know,
was so
just take him
stupid.
out of that movie would have made that movie better already. Just that.
Let's go into Star Wars real quick. A Han Solo movie coming out.
Listen, like Jimmy and
Now,
I were
Richie
saying earlier,
Cunningham. Richie Cunningham's actually, it's to the point now where Richie Cunningham is actually directing this thing. And I've known when I see anything Richie Cunningham does, then I'm thinking, okay, Spielberg. I mean, he does normally pretty good stuff.
I got a bad feeling about this.
So you know what? Yeah, a lot of people think this is going to suck right off the bat because they've had so much trouble with it. The trailer, I don't know how much of a fan I am about the Han Solo guy. I would.
I've noticed he does a lot of like impressions that kind of fit Solo. You know what I mean? Like you could see it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't. Any opinions, Michelle? What's your opinion of the new Han Solo movie by Ron Howard? He's directing it now. That's why we call him Richie Cunningham.
I like
Han
this guy.
Solo.
Yeah.
What?
Star Wars.
Han Solo.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
She wants to know who Han Solo
Like
is.
are they doing a movie just about him, or is this another Star Wars movie?
No, it's just
Or-
going to be. It's just
About
going to be a standalone movie about him. It's just going to be
How he met Chewie, Chewbacca, and
Yeah.
all that
You know
stuff. How
who
he got
Han
the
Solo
Falcon
is?
and-
Uh-uh.
You know who played Han Solo?
Nope.
Do you know what Han Solo flew? His spaceship?
Nope.
You know who he got the spaceship from?
You know who the actor is?
Listen,
that
she
plays
you
that
got
Solo?
a lot of work to do with that.
You know
woman.
what? I've never smacked a woman before.
You have no idea who Han
I
Solo
got a
is.
strange feeling you might not be smacking her either. But
Vicky's even saying, "Oh no!"
Oh, listen, my wife knows exactly who.
Han Solo is one of the three main characters, say, of 4, 5, and 6. He's Harrison Ford did him, and he was in love with Princess
Indiana
Leia.
Jones.
Oh, well, I've heard you
Indiana
mention it.
Jones.
Now I knew Princess Leia because when she died, you posted all that stuff about her.
Yeah. Han Solo is Harrison Ford. Kylo Ren killed him. That was his dad.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that yet.
Anyhow, I saw the.
We watched the movie together.
Come on, Michelle.
Which one?
The one where Kylo kills his Han Solo.
I only watched one.
That was the
and I was
one.
eating popcorn.
Yeah, you were
acting like I was eating.
She
and
can't
watching
eat
the movie.
popcorn and watch a movie at the same
I
time.
was
We're
only acting.
we're in trouble.
He slept through it anyway.
Anyhow,
I did.
Yes, you did.
You
Okay.
sleep. Yeah, last time I watched a
That
movie
is
with him, he
awful.
fell asleep. In
But
it.
do you think it's going to be good? Do you think this? You think they're going to be able to salvage this thing?
I don't know. I hopefully it's like Rogue One. Rogue One, the standalone film, was I thought phenomenal compared to the new episodes.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, so
Oh yeah. I love
And
that.
I think that's kind of going to be the way that's going to go. The main movies, those
yeah,
those
these side movies.
standalones
Yeah.
are
Now
gonna be
I would love
better.
to see some cool. They haven't shown everything, of course. I'd love to see them throw in a few surprises in there, like maybe a he has a run-in with Darth Vader somewhere, or you know what I mean, something that no one's gonna think of.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Like, what would be kind of great about it is you have to have, like Chuck Nicholson was saying, it's time for a Star Wars marathon. Now, it's we could set up the big screen outside and start at number 1 and go all the way through.
But the problem with that is, Chuck, we'd have to start it at 9 o'clock at night and roll it till 6 o'clock.
Well, we could just do maybe a movie a night for
37 nights.
Now, was Harrison Ford in the movie we went to see?
Yes, that was Princess Leia's
husband.
Sort of love interest.
Strained husband.
Yeah. He was with Chewbacca when they fly the Millennium Falcon.
I'd be curious though in this. I'd be curious in this one. Now you got the girl that plays Daenerys Targaryen from
Don't cuss me like that, Jimmy. This is
from Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke, who all the men love. Yeah. It seems like it's maybe his love interest in this one, but. If so, I wonder what happens to her because then he meets the princess.
Well, see, the problem that Star Wars is running into right now that Marvel and DC have not is for whatever reason people have, and I don't know why this is. The Star Wars geeks are geeks, but they are really into the volumes and the 4, 5, and 6 of how they think Star Wars should be. So when it comes to 1, 2, and 3 in these new movies, when I say 1, 2, and 3, I'm talking about the order their episode. They're not really. They'll go watch them, but they're not very accepting of them. I have never heard when it comes to the Avengers, for example. People love those. Anything that says DC or Marvel on it is golden. And you know what? Not a lot of times. I don't know how true they are to the comic books, but the Marvel DC fans are not as loyal to the comic book story as Star Wars fans are to the theoretical canon stories that have been written forever, and they're a lot more critical of the movies. They don't look at them as entertainment. They look at them as you better follow.
I think everybody accepted Rogue One pretty well enough that it could actually be called Episode 3.5.
Yeah, really. It should be.
Well, see, that's what I was going to get at when they come out with this Han Solo. Am I going to know where to put it in my lineup? Because you know how I am. I've got all the Marvel movies, right? I don't have them in order. Okay, Iron Man 1 through 3, and then Thor 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't have all that crap. I've got the Hulk, then it goes to Iron Man, then it goes, and I've got them all intermixed as to how they go in a timeline.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
The Solo story, I believe, is in between 3 and 4.
So it's going to be in there the same time as Rogue One.
Yeah. Rogue One was real close to 4.
Well, then this would be before Rogue One, then, because I mean he's 20.
Probably,
I was going to say because that's going to make him younger. Would it actually go somewhere in between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3?
No, that would be way too young because that'd be when Vader was a little boy. So
it
would be probably between
2 and 3.
By the way,
between 3 and 3.5.
Nerd alert.
Yeah. Lori B just joined on.
Hello, Lori.
Hey, Lori
Richardson.
But that's what's going to be. How is that going to work? You know what I mean? How's the whole thing going to come together? It's going to be kind of interesting to me.
You know what? If you really want to nerd out, the biggest thing I'm excited about this is the Solo movie is the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Did they change it very much?
Well,
it's the way it's supposed to originally look.
Right. The way it originally looked.
All right, give us some emoji while we do this. More shout-outs. I want to know who's watching this. I want to know if you like Star
Rhonda
Wars.
Richardson, Donnie Everett.
Lori B.
Oh, my beautiful wife is on here.
Hello, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Hello, Lori. Hello, Donnie from DC.
Chuck Nichols.
Late night.
Gary Lanham. I can't never say his last name.
Is that Cassie? Cassie's on.
Hello, Cassie. Did we ever figure out what
Brenda
was going?
Birchfield.
Did we ever figure out what was going on down at McDonald's? Anybody know?
They said that there was
roaches
Gary
being
said that there
in the
was-
bags at the drive-thru.
What?
Yeah, roaches
That's
in the
not
bags at the
true.
drive-thru.
Is that true?
Gary Lanham.
Yeah, that's what they said. There was complaints. I
Heard
personally
complaints
never seen
about
it.
roaches being in
Well,
the
we'll
bags
investigate
at the
before we
drive-thru.
spread that. We're not spreading that because we don't want those to come back on us. Okay. That's pretty serious shit.
That's just something that we're reading that was a comment from somebody else, not in this studio.
Okay, well, that kind of explains if that's what we'll have to figure out what that's all about.
Mr. Saint, roaches are nasty.
I'm surprised Cassie's still listening.
Yeah,
we
But
were
listen,
talking about Star Wars.
Hey, listen. Let's tell on a higher note. Let's talk about the new bakery downtown Shenstone.
Yes, Pike Street Bakery.
There you go.
Hey, listen,
Yeah,
they sold
they're
out
open.
right there.
Yes, they Saturday they were open, and they went through 720 pepperoni rolls.
Gee whiz.
And 1,500 donuts in 3 hours.
Wow. Good night.
3 hours.
So they just open up, and then when they sell out, the place shuts down.
Well, they actually it's going to be from Monday through Saturday, 5 or 5:30 in the morning until 3:30, and then, but of course until they sell out. But they still have, they have a phenomenal like Italian bread. It's all homemade, pizza shells and stuff like that. They make there. I mean, they have a little sitting area, like a little cafe area. I mean, it's man.
Will they have any prices on any of this stuff?
The donuts, and I may be wrong, but I think
these are approximate prices.
Yeah, approximately. I think they're $1 a piece and $11 a dozen. I think.
Okay. Maybe wrong, but they might be right. Who knows? Billy Joel
may be wrong, but I may be crazy.
Yeah.
But that's down in Shinson, right next to St. Anne's.
Yeah.
And they've been,
so you can get your donuts.
If you remember anything about Shinson back in the day, it used to be Simon's Grocery, and then it was DeMarco's.
Yeah. Didn't Mascara have a place there too, or was that up at the old Dairy Mart?
I think that was Dairy Mart.
Okay, I don't remember.
If I remember.
I can eat a shitload of donuts, buddy.
I could have been Mascara.
Kathy Houston is watching.
Hello, Kathy. Bartender Mike's wife. Hello.
Hey.
Who are you, Fonzie? Is that the gay Fonzie? Hey. Have you guys? Let me ask you about dreams. Then we're going to get out of here because we've had a long weekend and it was fantastic. I love going down to Webster Springs. If you've never been there, you really do have to go, especially if you have good people to go see, like we happen.
Well, then maybe we can all go with you sometime.
No, that's not going to happen.
Well, we should rent a cabin.
You know what? We could go down there and do camping.
There you go.
Now, listen,
We can do
Cuddles has
camping or rent
a
a
side by side.
I
Chad's
have
got
a
a
pop-up.
sort of a side by side without third gear.
Yeah.
Or fourth gear.
Oops. Brucey, you ever been down? Brucey loves the fish.
Yeah, I never been down there. I don't think so.
Oh, you would love it.
You
would absolutely love
Down
it.
there or up there?
Down there.
Down and
South.
over, sort of. Yeah,
Down and over.
And listen, it's in the valleys. I mean, you could
Yes,
see where
it is.
yeah, it is.
I love it down there.
But last night I slept like a rock. I mean, I didn't have anything to worry about here, even though the security cameras. Listen to this. Just so you know, Michelle was up playing on her phone. I hit the sack and I was out, man. I was out. But the phone kept going off. The security alarm kept going off. And when something breaks, it'll let us know, okay? So she was like, did you hear the security cameras going off last night? I was like, no, I was asleep. And she was playing on her phone. Well, come to find out, there's a dog, and I don't know whose dog it is. But that camera went off, and you could see this dog walking all over the place. Then he walks out the driveway, and it's like, I don't even recognize that dog. But the entire thing is, I slept like a rock, and it was wonderful because I didn't have anything to worry about. The girls weren't here. We weren't here. You guys weren't here. Nobody was here. And we were out somewhere else relaxing. Nothing to worry about, right? However, the other night, I was laying in bed, asleep, and I wake up like this.
Boing.
Like this. And Michelle's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, I just fell out of an airplane. Okay, in my dream, it was so vivid. I woke up.
I hate those dreams.
And I woke up thinking I just fell out, and it scared the hell out of me because I thought I fell out of an airplane.
Isn't one of these dreams? Do you have those? Are those the kind of dreams you have like right when you first go to sleep, but you're not asleep yet?
Right. Yeah.
And
He
it
hadn't laid down long.
Right.
before
And
that
it makes you
happened,
jump.
But do you ever have these kind of things? Like explain to what happens when you have these, like the last one where you got mad at me. Just go ahead, because it's just a dream. It's no big deal. And it bugs her.
Well, the thing is, I hate the dreams that are so vivid that, I mean, I still can tell you every detail, and it was months ago. But they're so vivid that you think about them all day, if not
They actually affect
several
your mood.
days.
Yeah, they
No,
do.
well, listen,
Yes.
listen to this. Listen to what happened, and I was just a bystander. I wasn't even here. I wasn't even there.
No.
Yeah, the last dream that was extremely vivid for me, Chuck was DJing in a bar. And all these college kids were all over him. Like these girls were all over him.
That's real. No, that's real.
So he's flirting with all these chicks. I was going in, sitting at the bar, and he wasn't not even acknowledging that I'm there because he's busy flirting with all these chicks.
Yeah.
How do you think he gets these tips?
In the meantime, I got kidnapped out of the bar.
By who? Morgan
by
Freeman?
some guy in like a 1982 Ford blue truck.
What was the license plate?
I don't remember that.
Don't scream.
But I do remember that I struggled, and I finally jumped out of the vehicle while it was still going, got loose, ran back to the bar, and he didn't even notice I was gone. And
Hey,
I
was
had
the
to
guy
be
that kidnapped you better looking than Chuck?
Listen,
'Cause I would
it's
just
a
stay in the truck.
dream. Mark's looking at me like it really happened. It was like, no, it was not like, look, it's she was looking. She woke up and she was pissed off and she was mad because she thought it was. She goes, "I'm mad at you." I was like, "What did I do? I just woke up."
You know, I've had those dreams where you wake up and you're mad and fixed. Like, what's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
I saw one of those things
Nothing.
on
Nothing.
I saw one of those
I hate
online,
those
one of those little
dreams.
like skits, and it showed where the guy like had this dream that he walked in on the girl and she was with some other dude, and then he wakes up and he looks over at her and she's like, "Not, of course." So he goes, "Oh," and he goes back to sleep. And they do the same thing with the girl. She walks in and sees her man with this girl, and then she wakes up and she starts pitting him and stuff. And he's like, "What will I do? I didn't do anything."
Donnie, what's your theory? What Chad tells us? Go ahead, Chad. Donnie has a theory he's telling us about. Go ahead and tell us what you want to say.
Oh, I was going to say what it is that evidently you did something that you did, or she did something that you didn't notice, and it was something small.
Yep.
So this was
it was
some kind
something
of
small,
Yep.
and it was on her mind whether
Yeah.
she knew it or not when she went to bed.
Yeah, I got kidnapped and he didn't even notice.
Maybe he was.
Yeah,
checking some
so
college
she
girl out.
did something just to
Thanks,
be
guys.
Maybe you were checking.
And you
sweet.
didn't
See,
know.
I want to be able to do
I
this.
love you
I want to
guys.
call you out.
Yeah, call
on
you
the
out.
little stuff.
Now, listen, if there's
Yeah,
one person that knows psychology in this room, it's Bruce. Bruce, psychoanalyze this dream of Michelle getting kidnapped by some hot guy in an 86 Cavalier. And
You've already.
Well,
you
it was a
already
blue
missed
Ford
the whole
Ford.
dream.
Well,
oh, a Ford truck.
Ford
That's
truck.
right.
Like an
Now,
old
Darren used to
Ford
have
truck.
a Chevy truck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
Like
blue.
an old Ford.
Was it
I
blue?
had an old blue Ford F-150.
Yeah.
I
Listen,
know
Michelle,
the
Michelle,
kidnapping,
if
but I
the guy
can't
was
say
better
it.
looking than
Can't
Chuck,
put-
you should just stayed in the truck.
If he's better looking, listen, that's your motto. If he's better looking than Chuck, just stay in the truck. Brucey, what do you think? What's going on here with
Well, I mean, as far as what I know, what I learned by reading, most of the dreams come in, stays in as a part of our memory. So whatever the event actually took place, or it could be imagination too. So they kind of mix together.
So actually, he could have left.
That's
me in a bar
probably-
while-
But there's a time she might feel that she feel kind of you're neglecting her existence.
Uh-huh.
That could be a possibility.
Okay.
I think that's. Yeah.
Now, what
Yeah.
about
See,
the
he's
dream?
just-
No,
he's just
okay.
using the big words.
Okay. Well, that's good because I was, Michelle was basically feeling neglected, and so that's why you felt like I was flirting with college
So
girls.
I
and
should have
didn't-
woke up mad then.
Okay.
You're
Well, I had
right,
it. Now,
guys.
strangely
You're
enough,
right.
I had a
Hey,
dream
did
at the
this-
same
did
time.
this dream happen since he started overtime?
No.
No.
This was like,
well,
This
it
this
was
wasn't too
months
long
ago.
after a Duggar dance.
Oh.
Oh, that explains it. But now listen, I also had a dream that night, and I had a dream that I was DJing in a bar, and Michelle was not paying attention to me. So to get her attention, I was thinking, well, maybe it's because I'm old and gray, and I'm not nearly as the sexy man that I was back in '37, and I was just a stud of a man. I was a chiseled rock of Roman godness. So I said, well, maybe I'll just go
still are,
ahead.
babe.
Maybe I'll just go ahead because I feel neglected, that Michelle's not showing me any attention, and I'll just show her to make her jealous that I can still flirt with the college girls. And then boom, what happened? College girls, and you get attacked by Darren in his Ford F-150. You know what? You got the hammer from Thor over there.
Looks better than Chuck. Stay in the truck.
But look where she came back. She came back. It's like, well, no way. Hell no, I was Darren in that truck.
This guy's gonna kill me.
No, but that's kind of weird, though. Do you ever have dreams like that? Where just like with you. I mean, I've had them where I fell out of planes. I had one for a long time. I was on a bungee cord flying right over the trees, and it would scare me to death.
Well, Donnie says that as far as like the feeling like you're falling and stuff like that, he's seen studies where the body falls asleep so fast that the brain thinks you didn't, and your body gets a massive dose of adrenaline.
Oh.
That's what his theory is.
That's a theory. Bruce, any theories on sleep, dream? Can you remember your dreams? Dreams are very hard to remember, first of all.
When I was growing up, I saw a lot of dream, but these days, there's a time I said, I know I had a dream, but I can't remember.
Yeah, you know what I hate? I hate when you wake up and you remember the dream and you're like, oh, this is a great dream. I got to remember this. And then you go back to sleep and you wake up and you're like, I can't remember that dream.
Listen,
Well, 5 seconds after you're awake, it's gone.
Right.
Listen, one of the things that you have to do if you want to remember a dream, and I tried this for a long time too, because I couldn't remember anything. And then, but now this actually helped me because there was a time I could remember about everything. Now, see, I can't do that anymore. I would have a piece of notebook paper next to the bed, and as soon as I woke up, I wrote that dream down so I wouldn't forget, because more often than not, when you wake up, you can remember it. I'll never forget 10 minutes down the road, you're like, what the hell was I dreaming about? What was I dreaming about? That one dream that I had, I wrote down. It was I was just out of the blue one day. This hot blonde comes into my life. You know what I mean?
It was a dream.
Yeah, it still is a dream because I love you, Michelle.
He's trying to make up for the driving incident.
No, I was actually trying to make up because I left her. She got kidnapped out of a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only
You
by
didn't even
Darren.
notice.
Just by Darren.
I'll tell you what.
I did have one dream one time about 4 years ago. I can't remember all the details, but it was about my son, and he was putting himself in a bad situation in my dream, and I was doing everything that I possibly could to try to get him to understand, get the hell away from his, I woke up, I was messed up. I just could not function.
Oh, yeah.
I had told my wife what was going on in my dream and everything, and she just, out of the blue, she ended up calling him and says, "You need to call your father.
Have you ever?
He needs to hear your voice."
Have you ever had a dream to when you woke up you didn't realize it was a dream and it turned into like an anxiety attack because maybe you thought like somebody was hurt, like it was a dream, like there's something wrong and I need to get hold of one of the kids, or there's something just not right.
Well, I had a dream one time, and Vicky will tell you, I had a dream about my brother. And my twin brother.
This was one where you cried about it. You were so upset.
I can't remember the details. It was either I got a phone call that he had died, or he got in a bar fight or something. It's something about a bar and something about him. And anyhow, he died in my dream. And I woke up, and I mean, there was like a lapse in there, and it took a minute when I was talking to my wife before I realized that it wasn't a dream. But I woke up and I was crying like a baby because my brother was dead, and. Before I finally woke up, and I'm like, okay, I'm all right. But man, it really upset me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
I'll tell you,
I hate those dreams. I hate
the most real dream that I ever had, and I'm not really necessarily. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not necessarily sure it was a dream.
I know which dream you're talking about, dude.
And this is no lie.
Was Todd beside you when you woke
up? No, let me tell you.
But he was on his knees though.
Yeah, I was. I had this dream that I was up in Pittsburgh. Okay, and then I can vividly remember this, which is kind of make it sound like it would almost happen. And I walked out of this building and started talking. It was like a crime scene or something. Hell, I could have been up there with you for whatever reason. I didn't know. Yeah. But anyway, the next thing that I know, I was pulled by my ankles and I was flying through the air. Okay. And I was being basically possessed by the devil. Like there was a demon attacking me, and this is what I had. To go into detail about it would be kind of strange. However, when I woke up, and I don't know if I woke up because I was cold sweat. I got on my knees and prayed to Jesus. It was that real. And listen, very rarely would you ever see me wake up out of bed and get on my knees and look right at my crucifix in my bedroom and pray to Jesus. And I didn't know because I was like, listen, man, I really think there was something trying to get into my brain. If it wasn't, and you know how it does that stuff. And I truly believed there was and then, like I said, I don't know. I don't want to say it was a dream because I mean it was so real that it could have very well been true. And I tell you what, it scared the shit out of me.
I remember. There's ones I still think back and I'm like, was that a dream or did that really happen? Is that a memory or was that a dream? You know what I mean?
They're so real, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or them dreams you have that are like reoccurring the same type of dream. Yeah, I hate those too.
I finally got rid of mine.
Look at Donnie's. He said the absolute worst dreams are when he has dreams that family who have passed away were actually okay and living. Like his grandma's was his worst when he said, my grandma's was the worst because man, you got to write that better.
Because I was certain that she was upset with me.
Oh, for letting the house go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that would weird like that. But you know what? Like Bruce is going back to, your senses and your subliminals, and maybe your brain comprehends things or interprets things, and then when you're sleeping and you don't have this bias, like they always say that kids and dogs and animals or whatever can see spirits and ghosts. Well, we can't. And the reason being is because we're told as kids not to believe that stuff. There's no such thing. Yeah. And so when you have this bias, that it's not real, just like you're skeptic about the government or you're skeptic about this, so right off the bat you're like, that's not even real, that's not even true. Fake news. Well, you know what? Maybe if you don't have that bias, maybe it is. Maybe you are seeing
Well,
things.
that's funny because, like, Finley's, her birthday yesterday. Friday, 3 months old. I'm so happy.
So it's really not a birthday.
Oh, it's her birthday, bro. Every Friday's her birthday. Shut up. But you know what? Sometimes, and I was talking to my daughter today because, sometimes I'll hold her like this. They're 3 months old. But, I mean, she's getting to, she'll, like if Michelle's standing right here and she says something, she'll look over because she's, she can recognize
She's
now.
making that contact.
Making that contact. But sometimes she'll be like looking over here, and she'll start smiling or something. And then I was asking Emily today. I was like, "What do you think she's looking at?" Because there's nothing up there. But you know what? Maybe she sees
Remember that ghost
something.
she saw?
Yeah, maybe she sees like her grandparents that have passed away or something. We can't see it.
Well, because they say
but maybe
kids
she
have that,
can.
you know, they still have that innocent heart. They don't know what's, you know.
Right, yeah, they haven't
shouldn't see, you know.
They haven't got to that point where, like we are now.
Yeah.
Well, like you just mentioned, I think the kids are they're more in tune to stuff like
well,
that.
if you
than
think
adults
about
are.
if you think about it, we all rely on visions rather than senses.
Yeah, so maybe when they're little like that, they can see stuff.
I think they can just kind of.
I think so.
Either that or she just does.
Just like when people are dying, they say they could see stuff, or
Yeah.
they'll say something or look at someone, and you're like,
They'll
right
actually
before
talk
they
to
die.
somebody.
Yeah,
you know?
before they die, yeah, their memory
That's
comes
true.
back.
Why is it that your eyeballs will relax you from fear? Now, what I mean by that is you could go into a room, this room, or say any kind of room in a house, we'll say an old vacant mansion. Okay, the lights are on, you're okay. Stay in that same room, but turn the lights off and sit there for about 5 minutes where you can't see anything, the darkness, because your eyeballs aren't. I mean, you still have all your 5 senses.
Yeah.
But your eyeballs are the one sense that's not working at that point.
Yeah.
What makes the eyeballs oversee? Because it could be the bias of what you were taught. Now at this point, you're feeling things, you're hearing things.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have your eyeballs on, you know what? You're really not doing any of that. You're relying more on your eyeballs.
Well, so Christian said, didn't you guys see some gas or whatever in one of those tunnels? I don't know about gas, but I know in Chuck's pants we smelled something.
When
he shit his pants.
Hey, he's talking about that one where I took him photos and we had that green mist.
Yeah, he's not talking about when Jimmy let off the grenade in the train tunnel.
Training grenade.
Well, listen, Emily. When Emily was little, she was in the room across the hall from us, and she came in. My wife had like this hope chest at the foot of the bed, you know, and Emily came into our room. We've told this story, right?
Yeah, go ahead. No, well, go ahead.
Emily was, I don't know, she's 9 or 10 or something like that, and she came into our room, and there was a little girl. She said she saw a little girl sitting on that hope chest at the end of the bed.
That would freak me out.
Crying. She said she couldn't hear her, but the little girl was sitting on that hope chest at the end of the bed crying. She turned around and walked right back in her room. But you know what?
This was in the house you're at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
I wouldn't be there.
And I'll tell you another story. and I'll tell you another story.
I moved out.
Now I'm gonna have dreams tonight, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
My middle daughter had a little friend come over. Had one of her friends come over to spend the night, and she was driving. She was like 16, and she came over to the house, and she just let herself in like most teenagers do, and I freaking hate that. Anyhow, she came in the house, right? And as soon as you walk into my house, you can see the stairs that go upstairs, right? And there was a little girl in a white dress standing on the stairs. She looked up, she saw this little girl standing on the stairs. She turned around, she walked right back out. She drove away and never came back to my house. Was it the same little girl?
Wow.
Yeah, but those little girls is not harming anybody though.
No, I've never seen
Not yet.
She could be protecting the property too.
Oh, sure, you
know
never
what I mean?
know. It could be like something.
She's just
some kinda-
standing and she might be just welcoming everybody.
or
But
it
that's the whole thing. Like with your eyeballs. Like say with me, my eyeballs. I see something, unless it's heights. Now heights scare the hell out of me with the eyeballs. You got a stress packer for that. Sorry, Judy.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I couldn't find the stress pack.
Oh wait, if you're scared of height, how you gonna fly in an airplane?
But then this is probably it. I'm looking for that video while I'm talking. But you know what? The thing that scares me more are my senses other than my eyes. It's like going back to the you feel things or that wind. Like when I go into it, like at the post office. I was at the post office by myself Saturday, 2:00, right? Nobody in there, and all of a sudden, sometimes doors go up, sometimes doors go down. It could be a mouse, could be just because they're all infrared stuff. And they got and I'm thinking, why the hell did that? There's nobody here. There's not going to be anybody here for 4 hours. Why? Who's in here? You know what I mean? I was in there in the break room, walking through the break room, and I swear I heard a guy we work with, Rick. Bill was sitting in the swing room, and I was like, I came in to say hi to Rick because I haven't seen him. And I said, where's Rick? Bill said, nobody here. And I said, no, the TV wasn't on or anything. I said, well, what? Did you say anything?
Frank retired, so yeah, Rick, the TV was turned off.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right.
No
So I was like, well, did you say something? Were you talking to me? He goes, dude, no one has said anything. And I was like, bullshit, because I heard Rick, right here, right now. That's why I came in and talked to him. But there was nobody there. Bizarre. I think I might be, what do they call those, a psychic?
A psychic.
Yeah,
I think I very well could have been.
Or psychotic.
Now, I do have to admit, there for a while, after my wife had passed away. The first couple days was a total blur, but the last day before her actual funeral, it was almost like she and I sat up all night talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was a new conversation. I ain't joking you. It was a new conversation. She and I sat up all damn night talking. But I had the best rest I have ever had. And when I went to her funeral that day, I was actually in a very good mood.
Right.
It was one of them things where I was smiling, talking to people. And I remember almost everybody that was there that day. Now, the 2 days prior, couldn't tell you shit.
She just wanted you to be how she remember you as.
And that's kind of, and what's kind of strange is where do you say that was not just your brain comprehending things so you understand? What's saying, it's like deja vu. What's deja vu? Is it something, it had to happen before for you to feel it again, or that kind of weirdo feeling, or did it really happen?
Yeah.
Because
I'm
that's
telling
how
you
it
right
is.
now, it really happened. I sat and had a new conversation with my wife 2 days after.
Isn't that wild?
I got a friend, good friend of ours, and I won't say her name, but her mom passed away. And right after her mom passed away, and she'll swear to this, that she sat down in her living room with her mother and had like you're saying, Chad, and had a conversation with her mom. Both of them sitting down at the couch, and she had already died, but she sat down and had a conversation with her mother after she was gone.
My mom said the same thing about her mother. Matter of fact, there was an older woman that lived right beside my mom and dad for years. Used to drive us nuts. She'd never come down to the door. She'd always stand by the roadway and just holler, you, to get our attention and everything. Most likely her husband cut the telephone cord again or some crap like that. But she would annoy the piss out of us. And let me tell you something. Mom said, I swear to God, I sat and talked to Miss Davis last night. It was one of the things. Mom,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, these older women. Really got a connection.
Do we know any psychics? Anything that? Somebody has to know a psychic.
I don't mess around with them, man.
Listen,
I would like to get one of them on the show.
We need to get a psychic in here, but we're going to find one. But anyway, years ago, this has been a year and a half ago. We went down to one of the haunted. We were in the ghost hunts, which we love ghost hunts. We do them all the time. Yeah, we went down to Flinderation.
Anybody wants to come next time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to do that. Summer's coming. Man.
So one of the stories was, this is in Salem, West Virginia. Look at Flinderation Tunnel, you'll see it. And there was supposed to be some kind of a train accident or something that happened in this tunnel to where there's some spirits in here. Well, we're walking through there. We have a good buddy Brian Morton with us and the Bird. Well, we're walking down this tunnel playing this whole Ghost Hunters. Are they still on TV, by the way? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You'll have
Ghost
to post
Adventures?
this link.
Ghost Adventures, I do love them.
You'll have
I do
to
love
post
them.
this link up here, too.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So anyway, we're walking down, and I'm playing this part. I look like I'm about half dead there. It's a skeleton with skin on it. And Jimmy, out of nowhere,
copy that link,
which you will hear, and you have to listen to really quick. I'm sitting here talking. The place is pitch black, minus this camera on my face. And I'm always listening for stuff, and all I hear is this Call of Duty, kind of sound. Yeah, and you'll hear it. Let's see.
Oh my God, this was great.
Just stink this place.
God damn it!
You gotta say
you
God damn it! Listen. Now the thing is,
look at that face. Man. His face.
Now the thing is, we're sitting here talking about this stuff, right? Can't see nothing. Yeah. And when this thing goes off in this train tunnel, let me tell you something. It was loud, and and I heard this, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then all of a sudden, what you'll see is this. Into the train tunnel, and a lot of body fluids and things that they had pine boxes, of course, back in those days. And as those bodies would decompose, all that stuff would kind of leak out, and it would just stink this place.
God damn it!
I'm so glad we got that on film.
Listen, man. I mean, first of all, it looked like I'm already in the grave anyway. And then I'm just looking around. I'm like, okay, what was that sound? And you'll look at. We'll do this one more time, and you'll just see me looking around like I'm following the thing on the ground like a mouse.
Yeah, we gotta do this again.
All that stuff would kind of leak out, and it would
Watch me.
Just stink this place. Like, what is that?
God damn it!
Oh, I'm gonna put that link up there.
We have got to do that again. Never gets old. Donnie ever said never gets old. It don't.
No.
Either. Never gets old.
Oh my!
You're
God.
right.
We'll have to get a bigger group this time. Go and just invite some viewers to go.
Oh yeah, because it's actually ghost hunts are pretty fun. And we've had questionable things happen.
Yeah.
We got EVPs. We've had flashbangs go off. We've had about everything happen to us.
Well, what's funny is
we had that mist and.
Even
we did do that.
At the one that you were showing the video from, that was the first one I went with you guys.
That's the one where Chad about had a heart attack.
Let me tell you something.
Remember climbing that mountain?
Out at the end of the friggin' tunnel, I'm telling you right now, and it wasn't one of our flashlights because we all had like the LED lights, and they're real bright white. Out in the middle of that damn tunnel, there was a one of the old real like 70s style flashlight.
The real
yellow, the real yellowish look.
Yeah.
I caught it twice. I'm gonna tell you right now. I put my hand on my pistol. Now I was like, "Hey, so we're gonna have a fight somewhere."
Right. I'm gonna tell you. That's why I like going with Chad because he got a pistol.
Then you remember we had some fool fall in the tunnel, fall at the end of the tunnel down there when you guys. It was like.
Oh, that was another thing. You could hear
all the rocks and stuff come down.
Yeah. Was that you, Darren?
Yeah.
Was that you,
Darren and Brian?
Yeah, it was me. I fell.
Brian Bourne was up there.
Like the tunnel was caving in.
I don't know, but anyway, we'll get into that. But it's kind of interesting. I wonder how it all comes around between dreams. Like you said, is it just like something where your brain tries to do to kind of like a safety defense mechanism, so you don't have a nervous breakdown. So this is your outlet that you can't do when you're awake because you're so biased about doing things. So you have to have these conversations, say with a loved one, or maybe it's something you're afraid of, or maybe do you really have them? Just like Chad, he knows it. Just like me, I'm telling you what. I was on my knees praying to Jesus, looking at that crucifix. There was no doubt. I had tears in my eyes, and I knew it. That if I didn't straighten up at that particular moment in time, I was done. I knew that. So
I think when it's that real, man, it just might be real.
That's what I mean. It was real, and there was no reason for why. What kind of dream do you have when you dream about the devil taking over your body? Unless you're going down that path to where the devil's taking over your body,
right?
You know what I mean? Perhaps.
Unless you just watched,
Paranormal
Activity.
Or
which, by the way, the first one was one of the.
Or The Conjuring.
Ooh,
but the Paranormal Activity, that first one was one of my scariest for me.
We watched that one. What was the one we just watched? We love those Conjuring movies.
Oh,
the last
too.
one was really good too. I really like those movies.
Was that Annabelle Creations?
No, I'm thinking of Insidious.
Insidious too.
Listen, I like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
See what I did there? No, Insidious is very good. And there's 4 of them now. We just watched the last one, and it was really good.
I haven't watched any of them.
The Insidious movies?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you have to. What's his name?
A
dude
Josh Stewart.
Josh Stewart from Webster Springs went to school.
One, right?
Yeah.
He's actually in it?
That I went to school with, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Google him. Josh Stewart.
Todd, didn't you say that you went to go see A Quiet Place?
Listen, go see A Quiet.
I want to see that so bad.
You
really
really like it then?
Listen, it was super good. The wife and I went to a matinee like 2:45, and there's only like 4 people in there. And listen, here's the thing about
first of all, the premise about this movie, if you don't know, right off the bat, you might not know what A Quiet Place, and it's the trailer that you'll see on TV where the family's walking down and nobody can make a noise. That's why they call it The Quiet Place. And if you make a noise, it's almost like the aliens or the vibrations. I'm not saying that, but you can't make any noise because you're going to lose absolutely. They're going to know right where you're at.
They'll lose
or
you.
like Tremors. In Tremors, you couldn't move anywhere because the worms or whatever that was that would come up until Reba and that dude from
Seismic Activity.
Yeah.
But we generally when her and I go to the movies, we sit like.
I thought we were going to talk about the movies. And say you holding hands and sharing popcorn. And
anyhow, we sit.
go ahead.
We sit about. We go like in the upper row up there, right in the middle. And there was an older couple that sat down in the handicap, and then there was another couple down there. We could hear them eating their popcorn, which would drive you crazy. But
So
we
it
could
was
hear.
a
That's
really
how
quiet
quiet this movie was. The dialogue, there's very little dialogue in it. But
Actually, I guess it would be.
Yeah,
Is there dialogue in the beginning though to explain what happened?
No. There's no dialogue in the beginning to explain what happened. The story tells you what happens. You know what I mean? It's all. But listen, let me tell you something. You won't be. It's only an hour and a half. It's not like one of these 2.5, like these Avenger movies. It's like 2.5 hours.
Harry Potter movies.
The Hobbit movies.
Harry Potter. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings. I like.
Lord of the Rings. I love them.
They're super long.
Harry Potter flicks. I can't.
like
It takes me 6 days to watch a Harry Potter movie.
He's not going to be able to watch it in a theater.
He'll be okay.
Now listen,
you guys go to a matinee. There won't be anybody there. John Krasinski from The Office, who played Jim in The Office, and his wife Emily Blunt. They both star in it. And listen, it's really
now
good.
when it is the ending. Let me ask you. Unlike a what was Super 8? Was it Super 8?
I wasn't crazy about Super 8.
Yeah, you know how the ending was kind of stupid. You go through this entire thing, and then the ending is kind of stupid. Is there actually a legitimate ending to this? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes,
Good.
There is. You understand at the end. You know what I mean?
Super 8 I was into until the end. I was like, what is this shit?
Oh, movies that end just like just for.
I would much rather watch a Cheech and Dong movie than I would that.
I tell you, one of the crazy
And yes, you
endings-
did
it
say
really
that
wasn't-
correctly, I'm sure.
One of the craziest endings I've ever seen, but it really wasn't a bad ending per se. But did you see The Mist, the movie The Mist?
Yes.
No,
See,
no. I'm
how
thinking,
about the ending to The Mist?
Yeah.
now, that's
Which-
not the one where they
yeah.
were at the radio station on New England Shore.
No,
Is that
no,
the
that's The
Fog?
Fog.
No, The
Okay.
Fall. No, you got to see The Mist. I have the
The
Blu-ray.
Mist
I'll have
has
to
a
bring
lot
it
of
in.
characters from Walking Dead in it, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You'd have
And,
to see it. At the ending,
yeah, the end-
it
the
just
end of
floors.
that
You're
just-
like, oh my God, why'd he do that? You know?
Exactly.
But it's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not like
No,
stupid, but it's, you know.
And that's how it ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're like, really?
Yep.
You'll have to see it.
Yeah,
you
you
do
gotta
got to
see
see
What
it.
was that movie we watched not too long ago? With it ended like that. It was like it ended and it was like, you know, I hate when they end like it. You're like, give me some closure on this thing. I gave you 2 hours of
I'll
my
tell you
life.
One recently that did that was Hostiles.
I haven't
Have you
seen that yet. Is it
Hostiles?
good?
I'll tell you what, it's really different. It's it's kind of like it's a Western, of course, but it's kind of like slow up and down. It's like a normal, normal like a Unforgiven type Western, and then the antagonists, they surprise the heck out of it.
Cool.
It's crazy.
All right. Anyway,
It's
we're going to
good.
call it a show. It's 8:26. Walking Dead on tonight.
No, it's
Fear.
Fear. No,
Fear
it's-
is.
no, Fear Walking Dead.
American
Oh.
Idol. American Idol's on tonight.
I love American Idol. And you have a picks yet?
What? No.
Pick yet?
I haven't even been watching it.
They're
this
down to
season.
the final, their last 10.
I was telling Michelle this the other night. And then we're going to get out of here for real. We were every Monday
said
we
that a
had.
half hour ago.
I know we used to have garage parties, and then we would all come over and we play the Xbox on LAN. We'd play Halo. We did this for years, and we would just be. It was fun as hell.
Yeah.
So we were watching. I think it was season 2. I think it was American Idol season 2. Jimmy comes over and I said, "Hey man, because we were religious. Todd hadn't started watching it yet.
Yeah, you told me
He thought it
about
was
it.
stupid. It was stupid. It's like, no, you'll like it. Actually, you'll like it." Jimmy comes over and said, "Hey, did you see that chick last night from Oklahoma?" He went, "Hell yeah, I did." Carrie Underwood. And it was like, dude,
she's gonna win.
She's gonna win. And she was a little bit chunkier than when she was
I
in them
thought she looked
skinny
good.
jeans. It was like,
Yeah.
holy mother of God, listen. I don't know who that is.
I liked her better looking like that. Like
I did too.
country-like,
I
you know,
wrote,
not
now
up
she's like a
where-
stick of
too
bones.
Hollywood
yeah,
now.
yeah, she really is.
And she's still gorgeous. I don't get it.
I mean, that's
Yeah, it's not like it's not like you'd say, "Hey, listen, sorry, Carrie, I'm married and everything, can't do anything."
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'd say. That's a dream. You're dreaming all this.
Wake
This
up,
is all
Michelle. You're gonna wake
a
up, Michelle, and
dream.
this is all a dream.
Just an all dream. Time to wake up. Ready?
It's very
One,
vivid.
one, 2, 3.
End the show.
I'm just joking.
That's funny stuff.
No, but we did say that. We did.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about it. It was like, wow, that Carrie Underwood, she's going to win this thing.
Hell
And you know what? She ended up being the
She's a winner.
superstar.
She's a winner.
Carol says that American Idol or whatever in the hell this thing is, I guess it's Disney night or some crap
Yeah,
like that.
Disney night tonight on
So they
American
gotta sing
Idol.
Disney songs, right?
Frozen. How's that song go? Frozen?
I don't know. You sing it.
Let it.
No.
If it
Let
all,
it go.
if it all.
Let it
Okay. So anyway, ladies and
Let's end
gentlemen, you know what? We know things are going to start changing. They're going to start changing for us too. However, if you're listening audio-wise, either on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, where else? iHeart, Spotify,
Anywhere you can find your podcast. Anywhere.
anything. They're everywhere. Podcast FM. I mean, it's all over the place.
So
that's
take
not
us
gonna
with you.
change. Yeah, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, neighbors, families, and dogs. Take it to the circus. Take it anywhere you want and listen to it all the time. We like that. As far as the video stuff goes, you know what? We're going to have to decide that. If we're going to keep it on Sundays, maybe every other week, and record 2 episodes and then have a week off, or if we're going to do it on a different night. Just because as it gets
'Cause
later,
during summer.
the thing is, as it gets later, the problem that we have, as it gets later in summer, and it's going to be nice, the last thing people are going to do is sit on their phones at 7 o'clock at night watching Facebook shit. They're just not, we've known that we've been through this for
We've
2
seen it the
years
last
now.
2
I mean,
years,
so it's like, well, do we just beat a dead? What's the word I'm looking for? Beat a dog, dead horse.
Beat a dead horse.
Maybe
Yeah,
we could do stuff like film a bunch of skits and just play them at different weekends.
Be fun, right?
Or because we need to. That's what we were talking about. The thing is that we can't. We've come up with a bunch of different ways. Say call it a season, not even do anything. The problem is most of the things that we do is in the summertime.
Yeah.
We have the
Hogs for Dogs.
the Ride for Life, the parades, and all this other stuff. Plus, I like to do it. I like getting this. This is our outlet.
That's fine.
Do do we do it every other Sunday and then record 2 shows on Sunday, and then have a Sunday off?
Feedback from the viewers.
Yeah, or do we record it on or do it on a different night? Say
as viewers, what would you like to see?
Yeah, Yeah. The thing is, the podcast community, to be in Austin Saturday, the Facebook stuff is relatively it's minuscule compared to the actual audio. So we need to almost keep the true release as in Mondays. So if we record on Thursdays, then we can't really do anything until we still have to have those done on Mondays.
Don Rivers said, bullshit. People can't even eat dinner without watching Facebook.
He's probably right.
Yeah.
Sure does.
But I mean, for us, if we're going to go from 3,000 watchers down to 900 or 800, where it's starting to drop now, granted, I appreciate you watching. But we're not, when it starts getting nice, we don't expect you to sit
900
here.
people.
Yeah, well, we don't expect you to sit here and watch this stuff because, we have a lot of interesting stuff we want to talk about with you, and you're not going to do it. So,
and we actually have to go out and do some things so we can talk about them.
Well, I was even thinking, maybe just the season, Memorial Day to Labor Day, maybe change our hours.
You know what we ought to do?
Just for the
summertime, we ought to all go, say, to Blackwater or someplace and camp overnight.
Yes.
And record the whole experience, do different stuff.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Then come home and let you spend 13 hours editing and everything.
Like,
yeah, no shit.
Or just say something goes off in the night, there's a bear, and then we're filming this. Hey, guys.
Listen, I would love to go camping.
Love it. We could do that. A reality series that could last a month. Just you were just record it for weeks. We could even set stuff up. We could have Todd get attacked by a bear.
I'd love to get attacked. We could have raped by a bear.
We could have Todd get raped by a bear that got raped by Chuck that raped Jimmy.
Yeah.
Listen, we could take this to CBS and they would love it.
They'd love it.
Oh, we still got to find a goat man.
Oh,
we still do goat man.
I just watched that video the other day, by the way. You out there with all them shotgun shells?
Look at this.
Goat man!
and by the way, the worst thing about the Goat Man is the actual where we recorded at, it's not even there anymore because the dam fell or the dam gave way and all that water is gone. I'll put that link up too. Let me see if I can find Goat Man real quick.
Right there.
And then we are going to get out of here. But we have a lot of things we're working on. Nothing's going to happen anytime soon. It's going to, we have at least another solid month because it's still getting kind of dark.
Still chilly, too.
And we still have to find somebody to actually rape Todd when we go camping. So
Jimmy can rape me.
Well, we can all do that. We just wear the same mask. Ronald Reagan, preferably. We'll just put the Ronald Reagan mask on.
You just keep passing the mask around?
Passing the mask by Cheech and Dong. And that's exactly... No, listen. That's going to be it. Cheek and Dong presents Passing the Mask. Cheek and Dong.
My God, you got some stamina back here. Jesus Christ.
Cheek and Dong, man. Okay.
All right, let's wrap this thing.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching tonight. Once again, though, we're going to have some things. We'll be back next week. Actually, Erica's birthday's next week. We're still going to do a show, and we'll have cameras out there for that. So make sure you guys come early because we're going to have a lot of food.
All right.
Sounds
good.
Do you want us to bring anything?
Yeah, just yourself and your
Michelle,
wives and anybody that you meet downtown. Mark, when you go down to the post office or wherever this week, just tell them, hey, Sunday, Erica's having a birthday. Come on up. Bring your friends and family. If you know anybody, just bring them on out.
No, not really.
Chad's cooking. He's cooking the pizza bread that we haven't had for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Pizza bread.
We haven't had that for 2 years. Chad used to cook every single Sunday.
I'll tell you what, that pizza bread
every
was
single
great.
Sunday, Chad
or his
cooked
mom,
something.
Or his mom. And she would bring it. And she'd say, here, take this to the fellas.
Yeah, she would.
Shit, Derek.
Derek's not here tonight. He had a special meeting. He's blown out wires or something.
We miss Derek.
I tell you what, maybe sometime during the summertime we'll have some pizza bread.
Yeah.
You know what? Jimmy said it. Jimmy said it before we started this show, before you hit record, that we would talk about only 10% of the stuff that you had on your list over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this show description. It said, tonight, Koreas are united. We haven't even said a word about
Screw you,
Korea.
ants. Stay away from my cracks. I'm like,
Yeah.
we didn't even bring up ants
Yeah,
either.
we'll talk
It always happens like
next
that.
week. Next week.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Chad Puccio from Monongah, the lovely and talented Michelle Rogan from Webster Springs, now living in the Port. Down there, you'll never see him. His name is Cuddles Mar Coffee. Over on the director's seat, we have Darren over there, and also from Tokyo, Japan, or a suburb of Bruce Takahashi from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How the Pens doing?
They're not so good tonight.
but,
We got robbed.
Jimmy Whiz, and over here the Couldn't wait till the show was over, getting his beer cans and everything ready. The
please
Chewbacca
call
of the show, the
Mario.
best friend a guy could have. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd, Captain Earl Beck. Until next time, you have been listening to Rogan Radio.
Later.
Bye, guys.